Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. This is Talk the Ting, and tonight we are here with young, up and coming star. Yeah, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As usual, um, we're gonna be fielding questions, comments in the chat. If you guys have any questions, before I get to introducing our guest tonight. If you guys have any questions, any comments, don't hesitate to send them out in the chat. And as you guys can see on the right side, we have a little bit of a new interface for you guys tonight. Um, Tonight we debut in the new interface. Hope everybody like it. To support the show, please subscribe, like, comment on our videos on YouTube. Um, and before we get into it, I see Hadley drop off there. Give him a little bit of technical difficulties, but tonight we have with us young Alick Athanaze, and me personally, I'm very excited to be speaking to this young man tonight because I've been a big fan of his for a number of years, and I'm really excited to see the things that he's been doing in the cricket world. Anybody who knows me know I'm a massive cricket fan. I'm a cricket fanatic, so I've been following his game for a while, and it's very exciting to have you on the show, bro. Thanks for coming on, man. How are you doing, Alick? How are you
You could
doing?
repeat that? Yeah, all right. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for coming on the show, bro.
Hey,
Definitely
what's going on,
appreciate
man?
it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thanks. Like I said, anybody who has any comments, don't be afraid to see your name on the video. You see, Mr. Kerry likes you comment already. So big up. So yeah, Alec, give us a little bit of a background on yourself. Where you from, where you grew up, um, and then we could go from there.
Well, my name is Alick Athanaze. I grew up. Well, I am from Granby. I grew up in Granby. I started playing cricket before I could really tell my age. So, so I started very young. But I played a lot of competitive cricket when I was about, let's say, age 9. That's when I really started playing cricket. Um, in terms of seeing it as a career, I started very late. Only recently started seeing it as a career, but yeah, that is really my background. 24 years of age, born in the month of December, right here in Dominica. So
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Before we go any further, I have a little thing to show the people. If you guys don't know who this guy is, you remember his name, and you guys gonna be hearing his name for the years to come. I'm gonna give you guys a little clip.
Very often.
Yeah, let's take a look at this little video here. Oh man, where is it? Here we go. Yes, Alec boy, there is some shots, boy. There is some shots. Them fellas balling on them shots there, boy. But
So,
yeah, man. So
so
you go ahead, Adley.
can you give us a little explanation of that little clip right there? Can you tell us what's happening? Like maybe the day, what type of match was it? What was happening?
It that was actually the first match of last season, not this season, not just past. That was the previous season. That was the first game against Guyana, and anybody that followed my career would know that I love playing against Guyana. I like playing against the bigger names. Give you more of a challenge, and when you score runs
Right.
against them, people look at you more. So that was against Guyana where I got back to back half centuries in the game. That was the second inning where I scored my half century. that half century there you just watch it. And I scored it very quickly. So I made Kavem. I don't even know Kavem Hodge.
Yeah,
I
man.
made him put together that clip for me so I could post it. So and he was the captain as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So you said you grew up in Granby, the south of the island,
Yeah.
and Badman place as they call it. But but you yourself not a bad man. What kept you away from that type of life?
I guess my family is not really that, they don't really have that kind of character in them. And my father is a very humble man. And to me, I just didn't see it suited for me, if I could say that. I was more involved in cricket and looking at cricket and breathing cricket, to be honest. I was more involved in the cricket than going and chill outside, chill on the block, chill with the boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is what I really, cricket. I would say it's cricket.
Okay,
So
so
yeah.
you mentioned that your father was a very humble man. So would you consider your father one of your role models? And if there are any, can you touch on any other person, male or female, that you would consider a role model?
That to be honest, that list is very 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 long, because there are group of people I consider role models. I had when I was down. I didn't past couple of years I lost my contract, and so there was a support group. Do you know that behind my back, not even me being aware of it, but a support group that was put together, to help me and to guide me. And really and truly, they were doing the job, but I wasn't really aware of what was going on. So, yeah, my father is a role model, and there are other, there are a lot of people I would like to call, but that list that list is for another time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So with that said, with your father and that long list, any specific sporting people, cricket people on that list?
Yeah, I'm not sure if you know. There's a coach called Sam Curran. He's been in Dominica a while. He's from England, and
Mhm.
much people may not know him, but I think he's one who contributed to my success highly, greatly. So him, and I don't know. You might know Clement Maslin.
Yeah, 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 yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you will. Yeah, he's one of the persons that was in the support group. One who doesn't really like to be mentioned is David Johnson.
Okay.
That man, yeah, and there's a lot of people. Most of the people I called are in sports in one way or the other. If not on the board, if not as a mentor or a coach. So
Yeah.
most of them they are involved in sports.
Okay.
So um so obviously in school we we play sports, and I think that's where it starts, where you test the water. You have your little group sports, your little house sports, is it cricket or football or whatnot. So I'm pretty sure that you started playing cricket in school. And at that point, most times it's just we like sports, it's something to do. But at what point did you realize that, how early did you realize that cricket could really be something that could be a career for you, or a way of achieving the things that you want to? At what point did you realize that cricket could be that? Because I mean, obviously we come from Dominica is not one of the countries that we know to be a steady supplier of international cricketers to West Indies. So at what point did you realize that, hey, I can do that?
I trying to figure out exactly when, but like I said before, I just played the game because I loved it. And in terms of a career out of it, right before the Under 19 World Cup, that was when I really saw that cricket had money, and you could play the cricket for the love, yes, but you could actually earn something out of it. So I would say at age 17. That is when I really saw cricket as a career. I always wanted to play cricket, and to be honest, go in school. I was one of the persons. I did well in school, but I went to school because I was sent to school. I went to school because no, I'm being very honest. I'm being very honest. I always saw myself playing cricket, and I used to tell, like I told most of my teachers, I see cricket. I want to play cricket for the rest of my life, and not knowing that cricket actually had money in it. I just wanted to play it because I love cricket. But in terms of as a career, as I said, probably about age 17 when I really sat down and a lot of people showed me the opportunities cricket, that are in cricket. So it's about 17. So yeah.
So
That's
give us a
pretty
little
early
bit of
though.
give us give us a little bit of I would say a background on how do you go from playing cricket in Granby to playing cricket for the West Indies under 19 team, right? What is that process like? What is and for people who maybe not in tune with cricket and the different levels and stuff, explain to us how you go from level to level, at least in your experience and what you know.
Well, in my experience, I started up at under 14, playing for Dominica. It was very difficult, coming from the south. There are always challenges coming from the south. But before it was really hard. You had to be talented to actually get a look in.
Hmm.
So, I started under 14, then I did fairly well. But what really kept me in the team is the talent, and most people would say that I'm good to look at when I bat. I'm easy on the eye, so that really kept me into the team because they always saw something, that it's something they could develop. And I went from under 14 to under 15, where I started doing even better. Under 15, then I went to under 17, where at the time when I was moving up, they just brought in the under 17 because they thought that the gap between under 15 and under 19 was actually too big. So yeah, I went from under 15 to under 17. I played under 17 twice. I did well in both years. Then I went to play under 19 the first year. I didn't do too well, but like I'm one of the players that trained my mind to see positive out of everything. So I saw that as a chance to go back to improve my skills, and then I came back the next year, and then I did well. And it's really about being.
So
Sometimes it's about.
when you say you do well, what does that mean? For somebody who never watched cricket before, if you were to tell them I
Uh-huh.
did well, what would you say that means?
Well, I mean, as a batsman is doing well, is scoring runs and maintaining a certain average.
Hmm.
Normally for under 15, under 19 boys is like an average of 40. So basically, every time you go into the wicket, you have you average 40 runs. So yeah.
Yeah.
So and for bowlers now, for under 19, under 15 bowlers is basically taking wickets and taking a lot of wickets, because when you're playing under 19, you might not meet quality players on every team. So having like 3, 4 wickets all the time wouldn't cut it. So they want to see, it's like that's where they pick out the special talents, like from the age
Hmm.
group cricket. So yeah, I went from that, and then when I came back from the under 19, they had a camp, and it's really about being in the right place at the right time. The game, I was injured for the first game of the second time I came back to under 19, and the West Indies coach wasn't there at that game. And then the next game I played, he was actually there at that game, and then I did well in that game, and I couldn't play the rest of the tournament. And then he saw me, and what I mean, just from that inning, he said to me, he told me that he feel like I would be the next superstar of the under 19 World Cup coming. So I asked him, when was the under 19 World Cup? That is when I really, got to know that there was a World Cup. And
Wow.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I didn't even, yeah, that is how much I was just paying attention to the game and not really the opportunities I
Hmm.
had. I was just in love with cricket, and then I found out that there was a under 19 World Cup, and then they picked a team to play with the big men, Super 50. I'm not sure if you heard of Super
Yeah,
50.
yeah, 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 yeah,
The
man.
West Indies competition. I played that when I was like 17 years old, and I recently grew. If you knew me when I was younger, if you knew me when I was
Exactly.
younger, I was very very tiny, right? And I went to play with the big boys, and I didn't do well at all. I
Mm.
I got two crack ribs from the fast bowler Zari Joseph, and I got hit all over the place. And
Mm-hmm.
at that time, I thought that I could really play cricket, and really and
Mm-hmm.
truly, I wasn't nowhere close to that standard of cricket. And like I said before, I I am one of the players that train my mind to see the positive out of everything. And I took that as an opportunity to come back and start from scratch. That is where I really met Sam Kernan, and we decided that, every day, twice a day, every day, twice a day, every day, twice a day, till I went to the Under 19 World Cup. And, I
That
used
is
to,
true. You're doing training twice a
yeah,
day.
yeah. Oh, yeah, from
Yeah.
almost a whole year, months, every day, twice a day. That is when
Wow, wow,
left,
wow.
I left Granby and I went to stay in Portsmouth. I moved closer to the field
Mm.
just to train every day, twice a day. I used to train until I had blisters. And that is when I really understood my game and understood the game of cricket and started to break down the game in my head. And it wasn't that is when I understood that it wasn't just bat and ball. You actually play up here and you use the bat and ball as tools. So
Yeah.
so I that is when I really started my cricket journey. I mean, not started the journey, but like my
Yeah, yeah,
career
yeah, yeah. Your career, right, right, right.
actually started there. That is when I really understood the game, and things started happening. Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, I can tell you, since you were around that age, man, 16, 17, 18, I've been I hearing your name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't know Dominica, but you hearing, yo, there's this young kid. He's really, really good. And somebody told me about, you had a coach you were working with. So I guess that's what you're talking about.
yeah,
And yeah, man. But I have to say, I think your demeanor and I mean, not just from talking to you now, but from observing the way you've been playing the last few years, you're very chill. Look like you're very you know, somber. You don't get too worked up. Is that something that you pride yourself on? Is that just your natural personality? Do you get upset? And when you get upset, how do you deal with that?
well, I do get upset, but like I said, well, it is really my personality. I'm a laid back person. I like to observe. I'm only loud when I'm with my boys and when I'm in the cricket arena. So
Mhm.
I'm really laid back. I like to observe, and that filtered into the cricket and filtered into my personality as a person, as a player. So yeah, that's just really me.
So
So
somebody have a question before we go to the next question, Hadley.
go
How
ahead, go ahead,
old
go
were
ahead.
you when you started under 13, and did you play in a higher age group than your age? So I'm assuming if you were playing, like you said, you
Yeah.
played um on the like Super 50 when you were 17,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
I
yeah.
played I played under 13. Though the thing is now the competition was called 13 and under. So I
Hmm.
played under 13 when I was 13 years old because I born in,
Okay.
if you look at it, there's a cutoff date for age. If you are 13 years old and you're born before September the 1st, then you cannot play. But as long as you're born after second September the 1st, then you can
Hmm.
play 13
Okay.
and under. So I was born in December. So I played 13 and under when I was 13 years old. And playing in terms of playing at a higher level, when I was 9 years old, there was a league in Granby playing with the big boys and stuff when you
Hmm.
had Unity B and all of
Yep. Yep.
that was
Yep.
really
Yep.
the league to pick the Granby team to play first division.
To
And
play
when I was
coach,
about
yeah.
nine, yeah, when I was about 9 years old, that is when a lot of the players stuck me in. My former skipper Alvin Sinjoli, Lex Maglow, all of them, Delaware, Liverpool. That is when they really stuck me in. And I think when I look at my life, right, I really think that helped me to develop a lot of character and to be brave. Facing
Mhm.
bigger men. That yeah,
Yeah. For sure. Because now, because I know you made that point. I mean, I grew up in Granby too, so I know exactly what you're talking about. When it
yeah,
comes to cricket and stuff, and all them names you call, like play cricket, all them, man. So it's good to hear that they saw the talent in you, and brought you there when you were younger. Because I there's a common theme I noticed with athletes,
mm-hmm.
that you hear a lot of people who make it to the top level say that when they showed promise at a young age, but they played with people like way a higher level or older than them,
Yeah,
and that kind of help push them along. Like if you're playing people at the same age, it kind of keeps you at a certain level, right? The same way if you
yeah,
play against people who are better than you kind of do better, right? Eventually, if you have the talent.
yeah. Because if you playing that people, you playing with your age group all the time, and you're way better than them.
Yep.
You will just dominate them all the time, and you might, because that is exactly what happened to me before I played the Super 50. I dominated that level all the time, and when I went to a certain level, I was nowhere near their level. So that is why I had to come back and do a lot of work.
Hmm. So Alec, you mentioned that there was one time that you figured out you had to make certain decisions and you moved to, you said, Portsmouth.
Yeah,
Right. So that means you were close to the field, you had more better access to a field, maybe equipment and
yeah,
whatnot. And it's a common thing where we as Dominicans feel that we have had multiple people who players who we thought that were at the level of West Indies cricket, and for some reason it never got the opportunity. The last time we got a local person to be on that level was, I think it was Shane, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah,
Yeah, I
You
think so.
know,
Yeah.
and we've always been, we felt slighted that we our young men haven't been able to get that opportunity. And so you now have the latest one to get that opportunity. Can you give us an idea, like, was there some decision that you had to make, maybe to move or to spend more time outside of the country, with maybe in the facilities or around the people who have better access? Was there anything like that, a decision like that you had to make?
yeah. I mean, in any sportsman, any dedicated sportsman life, there will be sacrifices that you will have to make.
Right.
And me, in terms of like moving, I moved because of the access to the field, as you say, the coaching. Because I couldn't really afford to go down to Portsmouth every day and to go back. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't
Right.
get I wouldn't get as much time as I wanted in on the field. So if I had to go down, I would have to go down early in the morning and then leave at a certain time to get bus to make sure that I
Early
go
enough
home.
back
But
home.
yeah, so I did that, to get closer to the field, to be more relaxed in terms of the environment, and just being alone by myself, just to make sure that I don't have any distractions.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's so. What about? Let's not jump the gun. I don't want to get to West Indies yet. We don't reach there yet. Let me roll it back a little bit. So you mentioned a couple of names of people who recognize your talent and help kind of guide you and push you into a certain direction, right?
Yeah,
So I mean, I'm not gonna compare myself to you because you're way more talented than I ever was. But when I was playing cricket, I remember, under 15, they call it for trials, man. You're excited, they call it for trials for
yeah,
Dominica. You hear him if you score little runs, you hear him on the radio, start getting excited.
You call your name in assembly every after every
Yeah,
game.
yeah, in assembly, little thing like that. You know, what,
yeah.
what was it feeling like? The first time you represented Dominica. Even if you were 13 years old, but what was that feeling like?
I was really nervous. I was That was the first time I actually traveled. I could remember look at Sebastian.
Sibo.
Yeah, Sibo. I can remember Sibo. Sibo was the one to actually put me on the plane, because I decided I was I wasn't going on that. I just decided I wasn't going on the plane, because when I I I, I tried my best in my little 14-year-old mind to think of how that plane would be in the air. And to be honest,
Can't
I didn't want
comprehend
to
it.
go on the plane and think about I mean, I was excited to play the cricket and nervous at the same time. So when I was under 14 and we went to the first game, and I told you that I was very tiny, and I saw that everybody was bigger than me. I was a bit intimidated, a bit frightened, but I think as a sportsman, you need a little fright, you need a little nervousness so here and there that
Yeah.
to keep you grounded because
Yep.
if you're overconfident in anything you might make overconfident mistakes. So I think that kind of helped me to calm down a bit, but I was really nervous despite being talented. I was
Yeah.
I was really nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I remember one year. I can't remember what year that was, but I remember Chris Gale and them had came to Dominica,
Yeah.
and they were playing. I think they were playing Windwards, but they had the game in Dominica. And I remember after the game, all of them were there, Wavell Hines, Chris Gale, all them guys, and they had just came from Pakistan, and that when Shoaib Akhtar was bowling fast, and I remember asking Chris Gale like, are you not scared? Like when this guy bowling so quickly at you, and he said, yeah, he said exactly what you just said. He said you you have to be if you're not scared, you're foolish, right? Because those guys really bowling quickly.
Of course.
But you have to back yourself and say, well, you can't first of all, you can't show them that you're scared, right? Because
Nope.
if you show that to them, you already lose the battle, right? So
Exactly.
that just kind of bring that back to my mind as you were making that comment about, backing yourself and not being foolish enough to say, well, I'm not scared of anything because a lot of people are scared of like fast bowling and stuff like that, but because at the end of the day, it's a safety thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So then you got into the let's jump to the West Indies on the 19 tournament, and you were the top scorer in that tournament.
Yeah.
What was it, 2018 World Cup?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you finished with 418 runs, two centuries, two half centuries, at an average of 104. And for people, let me just explain that for people who don't understand what that means. In cricket, the greatest players in cricket are considered in Test cricket, I would say,
Yeah.
are considered to average, or let's say over 50, right? Over 50 every innings. Every time you go out to bat, you score 50 runs. You average 50 runs. So
Yeah.
for you to average 104, the only one player in world cricket history who was averaged 100 over his career was Donald Bradman from Australia.
Yeah.
So you went into that tournament and you did really well. I remember I watched every single one of those games. And I remember people like Ian Bishop and those guys raving about you. What was that when you started getting that type of regional attention? Especially, young guy, West Indies cricket being where it was. And obviously every time somebody sees somebody great, it's like, yo, this is the next best person. What is that type of pressure and how have you dealt with that? How did you deal with that then?
Well, to be honest, the attention didn't really get to me. Because I back then I was more of a shy guy. I really wanted to be in the back, despite me being, the leading run scorer. So the attention didn't really get to me. But what did happen is I started working 10 times harder because when you live up to a certain standard and you do something, people expect it all the time. When people see, even when I walk in here in Dominica, when I played the game over the weekend, as soon as a man came in, he didn't matter what score I was on, but he expected me to score 100, and I heard him talking about 100 all the time. So what that has done is that made me work even harder. Try to live up to that name. Yeah.
So somebody
So
asked, go ahead. Sorry.
no, so my question is, at that point when you are now achieving those feats, and was there any point in your career where the managers and coaches looked at you in the capacity of a leader, whether it's a vice captain or captain, and if yes, how did you how did you take that? And if no, um, would it be something that you would want to do eventually later on in your career?
Well, that's a funny story, to be honest. When I was under 19, right, I captained a lot here in the academy, and I wasn't very good at it. Simply because I didn't used to understand the game. I never really used to really think the game and break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of pushed that to the side, and then I started working on my personal game, developing my game. And in developing my game, I started understanding the game from a bowler's point of view and a batsman point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I got to Winward, and there's this thing we do, one-on-one player development. So there's a form you fill out, and it's called an IPP. A form you
Mm-hmm.
fill out, and you sit down with the coach, basically telling him what you want to achieve over the next couple of years, whether it be technically, tactically, and them kind of stuff. And I told him that I look up to certain men in the group, and he had a chat with me, and he told me that you are somebody that normally do well when you are given responsibility. So why not try to develop that leadership role? And we chat about it, and he gave me the captain couple games, and I started understanding the game a bit more, what to do in different situations. And so then they gave me the vice captain of the one day team. And then they came to me, and they Liam, Liam, young Sibo. So he had a,
Yeah,
he
yeah, man.
came to me and he told me that, what I think about captaining the 40 team. And I told him that, I mean, I could captain the team, but what I want is that if I have to captain the team, that I try to develop my style of play and push it onto the team. Like a nice, positive, calm vibes that we could go out and perform and express ourselves. And they gave me the role, and in the first two games I was a bit timid. Just trying to understand and getting into the groove and stuff. But with couple chats back with coaches and men back home, they told me I could express
Mm-hmm.
myself. You know the game, and you could break down the game, and just trust yourself to do certain things. And game by game, it started developing, and I started understanding different situations and what to do in different situations. And okay, I see myself as a leader. I see myself as the next captain. So, I mean, I've had conversations with people, and in trying to develop that role, and people above, people who have done it before and stuff. So that is definitely something I see myself doing in the next couple of years.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I see a partner of mine in the chat. They're asking you so far which inning you consider your best.
Um. In what in my entire life, or in.
In your life, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But that same partner, I don't want to call his name, but he tell me, Alick have to score runs. Alick have to score runs.
I mean, like I told you before, I agree with him completely, because I wouldn't, you being from a small island, you wouldn't want anybody to say they give you any favors. And not just that too, you would actually want to develop yourself and make sure that you are mentally and technically ready for any series, or anything they call you upon. So I wouldn't I'm not angry that it happened that way. I'm actually happy that I got a chance to learn my game, and score some runs, get some confidence
Mm-hmm.
before being called up. So I know that I'm prepared for anything to come.
Yeah, man. I mean, so I remember when Hurricane Maria hit, you were in
Yeah.
Dominica. How was that experience? I know you've spoken about it. We don't have to go too far into it, but was there anything that happened around that time that kind of like made you realize, like, let's say, like, people tend to have these thoughts of like, life is
Hmm.
short. Let me take advantage of what I have, and them kind of thing. Like any type of similar type experience with that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I mean, it was my first hurricane, and I didn't take too much of it. But what I learned is that I learned most of my stuff after. I mean, I survived the hurricane, but
Mm.
I didn't see what was going on. It happened in the night. So
Right.
Yeah,
I learned most of my stuff, most of the things I learned it after the hurricane. In terms of getting food, getting water, appreciating all the little stuff that you took for granted, even the light we have now, with the
yeah,
internet,
yeah.
we could communicate, all the stuff. So, I mean, that is where I really learned, the things we take for granted. And it was just difficult after Maria, because I mean that was close to the preparation for the under 19 World Cup, and
Hmm.
the things that I had to do to get in contact with them. I had to walk almost 4 hours every day to get to town. 4 hours to get to town,
Wow.
and get just to get service. And when I got service, just to send a message, even a message or two, just to make
Yeah,
them know that I am okay and I am still available for election.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I think
Hmm.
that contributed to the person I am today, contributed to the character, and why I'm so humble. When I see certain people take things for granted, I don't even say anything, because I know all what I've been through. Yeah,
Yeah, man. That's good to see you came out of that,
yeah,
man. Because I mean that hurricane, I'm sure must have been scary, and obviously that's pivotal time in your life, in your career. Like you said, that was around the time that you started kind of taking cricket, serious. We have a couple questions in the chat. We have some more questions, but we're just gonna jump into the chat. So I see a question there, but I'm gonna leave that for later. Somebody says, with the rise of popularity in the IPL, is that the ultimate goal for a young cricketer right now? Is West Indies still the biggest prize career wise? So to that question, I'm going to kind of piggyback onto that question and say, ultimately, as a cricketer, what do you think your level, what is your goal in terms of what you want to achieve in cricket?
I mean, playing IPL is a domestic league, right? It's basically
Hmm.
India. It's like CPL. So I don't think for a
Hmm.
young cricketer that would be the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal, if that is the ultimate goal, then basically you're behind the money. So
Hmm.
playing for West Indies has always been my goal. Playing Test cricket. Test cricket is the highest level. All the men you see in playing IPL now, and at some point in their career, they were playing Test cricket and they did extremely well at that level. So that
Hmm.
is really them enjoying the back end of their career. So if I want to use that now as the start of my career and play only IPL and think that you could make a living out of it, but you could make a name out of it. But I mean, the true test is Test cricket, and the true achievement is not playing IPL, because anybody could come and hit 5 6s. I could go and play for West Indies and hit 5 6s and over and get called for IPL, but 5 6 is only 30 runs. And did I really do anything, you know,
Yep.
significant
Yep.
so that my name could be called for 10, 15 years? Them kind of stuff. Look at Brian Lara. Brian Lara never played that, but his name, even after 20 plus years, his name still calling. So my goal is really to play
Yep.
Test cricket, and from a young age, that will always be my goal up till that age. So
I
really
mean,
Test cricket.
it's amazing that you think like that, because, for example, if you look at a lot of our younger cricketers who are actually West Indian cricketers, one might say that a lot of them are more or less interested in that form, the short form, the quick form, the more exciting form of
Yeah,
the game, because it's obviously it's shorter, and the money, I guess, comes a little bit quicker.
yeah,
And so it's pretty amazing how you still see the ultimate prize right now as West Indies cricket, and not just West Indies cricket, but Test cricket.
Yeah.
because even the fans would tell you that we get crazy excited about the 1 day steal,
Yeah.
about the T20, but no, when it's Test cricket, like we don't people don't really show that much interest, and I'm hoping that with you with you being maybe be a part of it pretty soon. Maybe we can have maybe more Test cricket in Dominica, because Dominica is one of the places we've gotten this to see the sport later than everybody else. Most
Mm.
Dominicans will tell you
Yeah.
we watch, like me doing growing up, our cricket was on TV.
Yeah.
Now we have the opportunity to come home and watch it in the stadium. So the fact that you still feel that that is the ultimate prize, at least right now, then maybe that can even encourage the organizers of the event to spend more time in Dominica, I would say.
I would love that. I would love that. Really and truly, white ball cricket is for the crowd, entertainment. Because
Right.
if you look at how the game is going along now, the boundaries getting smaller, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like they say, runs have to score. They is to entertain the crowd. The crowd want to see
Yeah.
sixes, they want to see fours, you know, they want to see good catches, them kind of stuff. So it's really and truly for the crowd.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm happy, and I'm honestly, as a cricket purist and a cricket fan, I'm really happy to hear that, man, because I think we have in the Caribbean, and this is a discussion I've had with multiple people. I think we produce some of the best talented cricketers, all for like in terms of world cricket, straight up
Yeah, yeah,
talent, right? But I think we have a disconnect when it comes to the financial part of the game, and sometimes I don't blame those guys necessarily
yeah,
for thinking about money, because at the end of the day, money makes the world go round. And when you're looking at
yeah,
the type of money you could earn in 6 to 8 weeks in the IPL, it is a lot of money, So, but at the same time, like you said, like you correctly said, a lot of the people who are currently playing in the IPL, not just from the West Indies, but other parts of the world. And for people who don't know, the IPL means the Indian Premier League, by the way.
yeah,
Um, for other people in other part of the world, you notice that a lot of guys who do well in Test cricket and another guy do well in ODI cricket, they ultimately, eventually, they make it into the IPL, because at that level, you're playing against some of the best players in India, right? And some of the best players in the world. And if you show that you could do it on certain levels, then you get considered, right? So I think you going about it the right way. Um, Somebody said, do you think being the captain of the 4-day team gives you more responsibilities to perform on a higher level? And that's always been a big discussion in cricket, especially because if you sometimes when people perform well as individual players and then they get responsibility, their form kind of drops off. But I noticed one thing about you, I have to say, is that you perform really well under pressure. And even when I watch the Winwood Allen game, sometimes the guy's down 2 for 10 runs and blah blah blah, and then you and Cavem exactly for this year specifically, you guys batted really really well. What is your opinion on that? Being the captain and taking up the responsibility to pull your team out of trouble.
I would say yes, because me being the captain, when I get into those situations, what goes through my head is that I want to ensure that the team is in a good position, and I have to battle this. I have to battle, and before I was captain, I'm a free flowing player, and sometimes when things didn't used to go my way, I used to try to make things out of nothing, and
Mhm.
sometimes that led to my downfall. Sometimes me losing my wicket, and stuff happening. So I think me being the captain definitely helped me to calm down a bit. That was in the first two games though, but I mean in the second, in the third, fourth, and fifth game, when I really started to push my style of play onto the guys. Being positive, being not being
Mhm.
reckless, being smart, expressing themselves. They responded very well.
Mhm.
So and really and truly, like Brian told me, like Lara told me, when you start doing well and you start batting a certain way, people want to bat like you. And people would always look up to you and try to live up to that certain standard. And that is exactly what happened with the team. Me scoring so quickly and scoring all that runs. The whole team decided to, follow in that vein. And in terms of me and Calvin batting well, the reason we bat so well is because we train a lot together. Most of the videos you see me posting on WhatsApp when I batting, Calvin is the one throwing balls on me, and the videos you see him batting, I'm the one throwing balls. You know, so we understand each other and we complement each other. He's one that he like to take his time, and I love quick runs. I love those. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I love to score, and sometimes being talented, I wouldn't say is a curse, because you might feel that certain things you do, other players doing, you would do it differently, and you know that may lead to your downfall as well. But most when Kavem and I bat, and we bat for long periods of time, we start to play like each other, and I would, right between our over, I would probably try to share my knowledge of how I would have played the over, how I would approach that certain ball, and he would do the same. Probably when he find I getting a bit loose, or I my head a bit hot, he might cool me down. So we complement each other well.
Yeah.
So you said you like quick runs. Can you expound on that a little bit? Because most people today would think quick runs is four by there, five six by there. Is it the whole idea of seeing that you and Cavem bat so much? Is it that the constant rotation of strike to not give any bowler an opportunity to bowl at either one of you for too long? That's what
Yes.
you mean when you say you like, right?
Well, for me, it may be different for me and for Kavem. For Kavem now, when I bat with Kavem, I like to hit boundaries. I like to put the pressure back onto the bowler. And for him, I when I bat with him, I encourage him a bit more to rotate the strike a bit more. Never let one bowler settle down to you, because as long as he settles, it'll be difficult for you to know score of him, because he will know
Right.
exactly the lines and lengths to bowl for you. And so my job when I bat with him, I like to hit boundaries. And to be honest, when I play red ball cricket, I tried my best to really take advantage of the gaps in the field, because when they play white ball, there are men on the boundary.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
so when I play red ball, I tend to try to hit a lot of fours, because I like to watch test match. And what the test match I might watch the test match in the day, and then watch the highlights in the night. So the highlights I'm looking at is about 14 minutes, where you see 20, 27 fours in the day. And that is really
Yeah.
how I like to play my cricket. I like to hit fours. Yeah, that is because I
But
like I watch Australia a lot, and I like to play cricket the Australian way. You always put the attack, the
Aggressive.
attack
Yeah.
back
Yep.
onto the bowler. Yeah, so
but it's
that is
but it's a smart aggressiveness, I would say. It's not the
yeah, yeah,
slugging. It's not the
definitely.
slugging and the right.
You don't really need to slug in red ball cricket, because the men are so close. They put a lot of men in catching position. So as long as you get the ball over,
Right.
when I play spin, I don't really hit the ball in the air a lot, unless I look to go for six. My shots, I would chip, I would sweep, I would reverse sweep, I would just play
Yeah.
a little with the field, and then as long as they spread the field for me, then I would pick up my singles, and
And easy
then
runs. Yep.
right. Yeah, so
Right.
that's really about playing with the feel and being tactical about whatever you're doing.
You mentioned there. So you got your first call up to the West Indies senior team recently, and you went down to South Africa. And unfortunately, you didn't get to play. But I'm pretty sure the experience of being there in and around the guys, meeting and talking and spending time with the great Brian Charles Lara. You know, I know you got some stuff from that. How was that experience meeting Lara? And I don't know if I'm sure you met him before, but in terms of that capacity where he's there observing you bat and giving you pointers and stuff. Because one of the things I think we mentioned before to you was people have made the observation that not too many of the West Indies greats get involved in the current coaching setup, right? So now that now Lara is involved in that, how was that experience, man?
It was really really good. And I have not met him. I have not met him before.
Oh, okay.
That was the first time I met him, and
Mm.
we sat down. We had a conversation right before the night before I went to bat, and he he just wanted to see me back because he heard a little about me and stuff. And I think it was an optional training day where optional training day means that the team, whoever wants to come to train on the day, everybody doesn't have to come. So whoever wants to train on the day, and obviously it wouldn't be optional for me because I didn't play the game, so I have to come to train. So I
Yep,
went to
yep.
train, and he came there, and that was the first time he actually saw me bat, and I was creaming the ball. I feel like I batted the best. And that was the
so that
best
so,
batting
so
of. I
that
feel
was
like
your best.
yeah, I feel like that was the best batting of my life. I just got a new bat. I was creaming the ball. I was chipping. I was hitting over the top. I was I just felt good at the time, and and he pulled me out of the net, and he asked me about my approach and what I like doing and stuff, and after he told me that stay close to him because I think he said that I have the potential to be one of the best. So I said, well, and coming from somebody you looked up to as a child, what that would do to your confidence. Some people might take it and run with it, and you might get a little swell headed, but nah, I actually wanted to, I didn't want to disappoint him because if he thought that I could do it, then right now is really the time to put in the work and actually do it. So yeah, that was a nice little meetup at first, and then during the games we had couple net sessions where as long as I batted in the net, he was right behind me, and he was just talking out couple overs and playing spin, and trying to for him is basically staying ahead of the game all the time, one step ahead. So trying to be in the bowler's mind, trying to premeditate what is coming, and trust me, that man is a genius. Yeah.
So one question from one of our guests looking, which bowler would you consider maybe the most challenging in your career? And that could be at any level. Which bowler you think would be? But I would also want to know that what style of bowling that you also think that you thrive against as well.
Why are you only man to give all the secrets now? Eh?
I mean, nah, but
I
the
mean,
most the most difficult bowler I faced, that would be Shane. Shane was the most difficult bowler, in his prime.
Shane Shillingford.
Yes, Shane Shillingford when he used to bowl the Dushra and the off spin. Um, in terms of pace, I would say Ray Jordan. Ray Jordan is one of the most difficult bowlers because of his raw pace and his ability to tail the ball the other way. That, but to me, I prefer spin, and not. I wouldn't say I prefer spin. On my day, if the wicket is fast, and so I could take some pace apart, but bowlers the style of bowling I dominate more. I would say off spin because I like the ball spinning and swinging away from me. So because I like to
Wow.
free my arms. I mean,
That,
left arm spinners get me out sometimes, but it's only because my mindset is to dominate them all the time.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
might get me out, but left arm off spinners where the ball is going away from me, I have enough room to free my arms, and then I tend to be more dominant against them.
That's interesting, because for the most part, left-handers struggle against off-spin bowlers, right-hand off-spin bowlers, because the
I
ball
think
is the ball is going away from them.
yeah, I think the reason I play off spin well and play spin well on a hole is because I have something different, the reverse sweep, and sometimes as long as you play, because even Rakim Cornwall is one of the best in the Caribbean, and you play couple sweeps and couple reverse sweeps, and then the field go back. So the pressure that would be on me if I played forward and I missed a ball, if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
miss,
yeah, yeah.
or if I hit a ball, it pop up. The man wouldn't be there because he would be back because I played those shots.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I guess that contributes to to me dominating against them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I
Make the
mean,
game sound like a real science, man. I like that.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You sound like you've put a lot of thought and work into your craft. And I'll tell you, as the Dominicans ourselves, Man, we cannot wait, bro, to see you, on the world stage doing your thing. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's definitely gonna make us proud. Um, because I remember, there were a few people who made it, kind of like on your level, right? They made West Indies on the 19. Everybody
Mhm.
thought that they were gonna make the West Indies senior team, and it never happened. And there were some people who from Dominica who played well regionally. Even Shane, it took him a while to get to the point of being called up to the West Indies senior team. So
Yeah.
um, you know, I could tell you that a lot of people are looking forward to seeing what you're gonna bring. I've seen I'm on a couple forums on Facebook, regional cricket people talking about, and trust me, I think for the most part, a lot of people in the Caribbean are really looking, for what you're gonna bring to the team. So like I told you when you were talking, if I think if you keep your head on the same way you've been going and you just work hard, I think the talent is there, man, and you'll do well. So we definitely wish you the best. But we're not gonna go yet. We have a little trivia we're gonna play before we leave tonight. So if anybody in the chat knows the answers to these questions, you could also post them. But I'm gonna give me 1 second. Let me just pull them up. Hadley, you want to try to see if you can answer them too?
Yeah, let's go.
You say you're a cricket man. All right. So question number 1. This spectacular Barbadian was known to be a hard-hitting batsman. In 108 tests, he scored 7,558 runs at an average of 44.72. Can you identify this former coach of Bangladesh? The answers are potentially Gordon Greenwich, Desmond Haynes, Larry Gomes, or Clive Lloyd.
Who those questions for? The people in the crowd.
You got answer too?
as long as you go back 108 years, you lost me.
So hold on. So that person was a West Indies cricketer, but he was also a coach of Bangladesh. So that's
Yes.
that's what we're looking at.
I see Haynes, I see Lloyd.
Somebody say Haynes, somebody say Lloyd.
Okay.
You guys, what do you want to? You guys have a choice?
I'm going to go with Charlie Docky. That man know a little something about the cricket. So let's go with Haynes.
Too bad that Charlie Dock is wrong. Gordon Greenwich.
Oh.
All right, next question. A tall, fast
Repeat
bowler.
that Google answer.
A tall, fast bowler who was known for his stunning Yorkers. He has a bowling average of 20.97 in 58 tests with 259 wickets. Can you identify this Barbadian? Joel Garner, Andy Roberts, Curtly Ambrose, Patrick Patterson.
Not Ambrose for sure. Ambrose from Antigua.
I wonder.
Okay. So process of elimination.
Who looks
We'll
like
come back to them.
Ambrose? Nah, Ambrose not right.
not Ambrose. Ambrose from
Charlie Docky, you got it right this time, boy.
Ghana.
You 50%. Joel Garner. All right. Let's go to the next one. This Trinidadian batsman played 52 tests and scored 2,470 runs at an average of 35. He was known as a good fielder at short leg, and since retirement has been coach for the West Indies and the Canadian team. The potential answers are Desmond Haynes, Jimmy Adams, Gus Logie, or Phil Simmons.
Jimmy Adams.
No, but Jimmy Adams from Jamaica, bro.
Jamaica.
I know Jimmy Adams is a deadly shot leg.
That's right, chap boy. Charlie Docky on a roll, boy. Gus Logie. All right. Let's see this next one. Okay. Sorry.
Look, somebody say Adams was slips.
Adams or slips. That's right. I'm reading too fast. Okay, sorry.
Adams or sleeps. Okay.
All right. The next question. He is the first cricketer to play 100 matches, score 5,000 runs, take 100 wickets and 100 catches in both tests and one-day matches. This
Okay.
batsman retired from cricket in protest against being removed from the captaincy. Who is this Guyanese batsman? The answers could be Carl Hooper, Clive Lloyd, Richie Richardson, or Ridley Jacobs.
Okay, Ridley Jacobs out. No.
Of course.
Go ahead. Call the other names again.
Carl Hooper, Clive
Richie
Lloyd,
Richardson
Richie Richardson.
is not from Guyana.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a help. Call. We're gonna Charlie Docky again. Boy, give somebody a chance,
Richie
bro.
Hooper.
Carl Hooper is correct.
Hooper.
Carl Hooper is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
But
All right.
Lex answering it too.
Boy,
Lex, I have a problem, man.
All right. Next question. An all-time great West Indian cricketer. This Trinidadian scored over 11,000 runs in his test career with a stupendous average of 52.88.
Imagine before you finish that thing there, the average in my head already 52.
So who is that now?
Let him answer it, man.
Yes, Ernie, you get that one.
Ernie
Brian Charles Lara.
Yeah, before you even finish it, the average in my head already.
That's a half century. That's a half century every game, boy.
That's
You
right.
got Lex again. Lex, speed up the Wi-Fi, man.
All right, couple more. This great fast bowler who took 249 wickets in his 60-match career was known as Whispering Death. In case you guys don't know what that means, that's how fast he used to bowl. Whispering Death. Can you guess who he is? Potential answers are Curtly Ambrose, Andy Roberts, Michael Holding, or Sylvester Clark.
60 games. Whispering Death.
I would like to see him bowl in person.
Holding.
That's right, Michael Holding.
Right.
Michael
Yeah,
Holding.
Lex.
Hey, look. Okay,
Boy,
look, Lex was on time this time.
Let's refresh that Wi-Fi, man, for it.
Yeah, but I seen people answering from Elastic. Someone was say Hooper.
No, that was only the last question.
Yeah. Wi-Fi slow too, man.
All right, we have a good last one. We're gonna see who gonna get that because we spoke about it earlier. But one before the last. This great West Indian batsman of East Indian origin played 79 tests and scored 6,227 runs at an average of 47.53. Sunil Gavaskar has named his son after this great West Indian. Can you name him? The options are Alvin Kalacharan, Rohan Kanai, Shivnaran Chandapal, or Darren Ganga.
There's one of the two last ones.
Charlie Docky, let me see what you have on this one there. Don't go on Google that, my brother.
You want to say Chandapal, but East Indian descent.
Chanel G, you're right. Rohan
right?
Kanai. Rohan Kanai is the right answer.
Repeat that question again.
What? Lex, you know your history, boy.
You see, it says this great West Indian batsman of East Indian origin. That means he was born in India.
Yeah.
Right?
Charlie said,
Charlie.
All right, the final question before we wrap up. All right. This all-rounder scored the most runs in the Under-19 World Cup in 2018 with 418 runs at an average of 104, including 2 centuries and 2 50s. He also led the regional cricket competition in 2023 with the most runs with 647 runs at an average of 64, with 2 centuries and 4 half centuries. The answer to that question is
Well, I think
potentially Kavem Hodge, Liam Sebastian, Mervyn Matthew, or Alick Athanaze.
Well,
Yes,
answer 1, 2, 3, 4. People answer the question already.
So that showed me that people was paying attention.
Like he was first.
That showed me people were paying attention. People were paying attention.
Man,
Ducky, you late. Don't come. You late, Ducky. You late. You late. You late.
The man himself, the Calypsonian, man.
Must be.
All right. But yes, man, Alick, man, listen, man, we really wish, thank you for joining us, for coming on the show, having a conversation with us. Hopefully, we can have a conversation with you after you score your first test century.
yeah.
We'll bring you back again because I know it's gonna happen
fast.
And yeah, man, we wish you the best from everybody on Talk the Ting and everybody in the chat, all of Dominica and the whole Caribbean family. We're wishing you the best, and we really hope that your talent's gonna shine through, and you're gonna do it, bro. Trust me, I know you're gonna do it. From what you said, your work ethic, you put it in the work. You have what it takes to do it. So just put your head down and work, and remain humble. That's the big thing.
Yeah, man. That's basically my life now. I work out twice a day in the gym and then back home and sleep. That's basically my life.
That's good. That's good because when you perfect your craft, you have no idea how many doors. I mean, sometimes we don't know. There's many doors that could be open for you. And your family and the future of your family. So just take that serious. Big up yourself. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. Keep tune in to Talk the Ting again in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we're gonna have finally. I know I promised it a couple of times, but we had to grab Alick when we could grab him because that man is a busy man. So we're gonna have finally immigration attorney Tamika Jude on. So please tune in. We're gonna have some special prizes and stuff for you guys. So tune in next 2 weeks, and that's all we have tonight. Adley, have anything?
I just want to touch on some of the comments being left by the viewers. Charlie says big up, all the best from Chris. Don't believe the hype. Akela said all the best. Be persistent. So basically there's a lot of big up yourself from Carol, Bruno. So just the viewers, just sending some love and support to you, and I'm pretty sure I can say on behalf of everybody that we will be right there behind you when that day comes, when I think we're looking forward to seeing your name on that 11 lineup for the West Indies team, and I promise you that we will be happy no matter what the outcome is. We will be supportive and just go out there and stay hungry, as Charlie said. Stay hungry, don't believe the hype, and just be focused.
Yeah,
and thank you for coming on to Talk the Ting, and appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. Bless. Thanks to everybody for the support as well.
Yeah, man. Okay, everybody, have a good night. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, man.